All right, Coach. Is there a way to describe, to put into words, that Angelo State education to use, and how you can describe that win?
Well, it was just just never giving up. We were in bad shape at halftime. We hadn't played well on defense. Played pretty decent on offense. We had 24 points at halftime, but we had let some opportunities go too that we probably shouldn't have. I don't know what the reasons are. It's I've said it probably every week. That we're just young and we're trying to learn and we're trying to grow, and I think all that goes into it. A long trip, hot day, everything. Just I don't know. I really don't have a way to put a finger on all of it, but what I was really pleased with was just the second half coming out. A lot of teams down 40-24 are not going to play that great in the second half, and we did. We kind of found ourselves. We knew we got the ball first, so if we could get one in there and get a 2-point conversion and then make it a one score game, it kind of give us a little momentum, and that's exactly what happened. And our defense played a lot better. We did make a few adjustments that helped a bunch in the second half. They did do a few things in the first half that we hadn't seen on film, but that's how good a coaching staff they are. Torres does a fantastic job, man. He was at Franklin when we would play those guys, and it was always a battle, and he's the head coach at Pebble Hills, and he's just a great coach. And we always know he's going to have a wrinkle for us, and he did, and it took us a little while to adjust.
As far as you said making adjustments. As far as like the football standpoint, what was it?
They were running a bunch of empty set, and we hadn't seen them in empty set in 3 games, and we were trying to disguise some coverages that that we're not good enough to disguise. So we quit doing that, and then we kind of adjusted to their empty, and it helped us out a bunch.
The halftime conversation, was that a moment where you let the upperclassmen take over and kind of lead the conversation, or is that a moment where the coaches come?
No, I took over. I made all the comments at halftime. That's my job. We gotta get kids ready to play, and we got to get kids, give them a chance. Give them the best chance we can with their abilities to try to have success. And I thought Coach Willis and our defensive staff did a great job in the second half. And like I said, it was some things that that happen in every football game. They usually just don't get that out of hand, and I think it did. A lot of it was just we just didn't seem like we were very energetic in the first half. Not only on the defensive side, but on the offensive side, we've made some mistakes too that we just didn't step out of the dressing room kind of ready to go. And there's no band, there were some fans. There really was a good crowd for us, but to go that far. But it's just different. The atmosphere is completely different, and it's not exciting. When we play at home, it's always a great atmosphere. Our fans are fantastic, and it's fun to go out there and it kind of gets you juiced up, and that just wasn't there. And then, I didn't realize how much the 4 o'clock start was going to affect us, because I thought it would be an advantage because we would start the day earlier, but the long trip, and then the early start, and then the heat. And I bet it was 120 on the turf. It had to be. It was 95 in the air, and as soon as you walked on the turf, there was a marked difference. When you come off the track and got on the turf, and we don't talk about it. I'm not going to be negative and really not ever going to make excuses for anything. But all of that had an effect.
Does it make you want to rethink? Scheduling El Paso's?
Yeah. Well, it's not something that I love playing Pebble Hills because it's a good game, and Coach Mark Torres and our friends, and we always get something out of it. But it's just too far. Our travel's bad enough as it is, and then to play a non-district game that far. But it was out of necessity. We searched and searched 2 years ago to find teams to play, and because we had come off. The 2016 season that we had a great year and played Allen out here and had a great football team. And the next year we were undefeated going into the playoffs. And So a lot of teams just didn't want to play us. I mean, we tried. You know, I called everyone in our old district, and I thought we were going to be in that district. I didn't think there'd be any way they would put us somewhere else. And so, you know, by the time I got phone calls into those guys, whenever we were in this other district, they all had games. It's just hard to find games. You know, 6A football, you want to play 6A teams. Or you want to play a really good team like Cedar Park that's a really good 5A, and they're just really hard to find out here. You know, people, they'll play you. They're not afraid to play us. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just they don't want to travel because they don't have to. You know, they can find a game 30 minutes away and get just as much out of that game as they could playing us, and then they don't have to drive 3 hours. So it's just the logistics of where we're at. That's why I want to be in a big district. I wish the UIL would put us in the 8-team district with the Midland, Odessa, Friendship, Tascosa, Abilene, and us. You know, that's eight really good teams, as close as we can be to all of them. And then we only have to find 3 non-district games, and hopefully they'll listen.
Coach, getting second half comebacks are kind of something that people are kind of fascinated by, and how they could happen. And there was kind of one over the weekend in college football.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar. And you've had a couple. The one that stands out is the one against Arlington Bowie about 5 years ago in the playoffs. It was with a 20-point deficit.
Right, 21 in the fourth quarter.
Key to being able to do something like that? Is it
You know,
like belief and adjustments?
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. Obviously, you gotta figure out some things at halftime in every game, you know, whether you're down or up or whatever. But you know, I really just think it goes back to our kids and like our off season and the things that we do in our off season are all built to make them mentally tough. Mental and physical toughness is what we learn in off season. And if you can't get through the mental and physical toughness of our off season, then you won't play. I mean, you won't be on the team because you're not going to go through it. And it's grueling. I mean, and it's that way on purpose. And what we try to instill in them is we're going to work as hard as we can mentally and physically so that when we get to these kinds of games, we know we're not going to give up. And number 2, we got so much invested from our own off season, you know, for months, from January to August. We've got so much time and energy and effort invested that I don't want to give up, you know, because I'm going to lose a lot. You know, it's like we've got a bank full of investment, and that makes you play harder. You know, it makes you play to the end. It doesn't always work for you. I mean, obviously, it's not going to always be there for you, but when you need it, sometimes at least you've got it there to pull out of. You know.
Coach, you're entering the district season 2-2. You played some great football. You know, granted, week 1 wasn't what it was.
Right.
How would you grade your team heading into this district?
I think the last 3 weeks we've played really well in spurts. You know, we did not play well against Shoemaker. You know, we didn't. We were kind of young and didn't really know how to play like 6A football. But from Del Rio on, except for just, you know, really and truly, even in the Pebble Hills game, when you look at it, you know, we had them in some 4th downs and some 3rd downs and let them get it, you know, let them get away with some things that we shouldn't have. And if we just get them off the field on 3rd and 4th down in the first half, it's a close ball game at halftime, you know. And so it wasn't the whole first half, it was just spurts of the first half where we made a mistake here, or somebody missed their assignment, or we were out of position and trying to do some things that we're just not capable of doing. And now as a coaching staff, we know that now. You know, we know kind of what we are capable of doing and what we're going to have to do in the future. But I think Del Rio, we played great. I think Cedar Park, we played great. If, like I said, if we get the onside kick, everyone thinks that's the best game in the world. And then the second half against Pebble Hills was lights out. I mean, our offense was, we had our last 6 possessions, we had 5 touchdowns in a run out the clock possession. You know, couldn't be any better. Defensively, shut them out in the second half. We just got to get consistent. You know, we get consistent and stay healthy, and we'll be fine.
And you mentioned consistency, you know, and now district is here. Is that really the key, is consistency to be where you want to be at the end of the district?
Yes, without a doubt. You know, we just got to get consistent. We got to put 4 quarters together and finish games, and you know, and I think you learn how to do that. You know, I think you know, after the second half, we felt better about ourselves. You know, we had we went out and played a great second half, both sides of the ball. And we just need to be consistent, put that together in the first quarter and carry it over to the fourth quarter. And if we can do that, we'll be right in the middle of this thing. I mean, we start off with the 2 toughest teams in district. That's the negative, or whatever you want to call it. That's the tough thing, is we got Weatherford 4-0, and they got a D1 quarterback and a really good offense, and their defense plays hard. And then we get Trinity, 4-0 Trinity right after that. So we start off with, probably the 2 best teams in the district. So we're going to have to find a way to win these games.
Coach, this week you have Ken Seals. He's the #1 rated pro-style quarterback in Texas. How disciplined is the secondary going to have to be? And then you have a great defensive front, but certainly how disciplined is
we got to get pressure. We got to get some pressure on him, and he's handling that really well too. And just because you get some doesn't mean it's going to be successful for you. I've noticed from last year to this year, this guy has improved tremendously. I mean, he was good last year, but he is exceptional now. He's putting the ball right where he wants it, and he gets it there fast. I mean, he's got a gun, and he can throw all the throws. He can be on the right hash and throw the out to the left, and he puts it right where he wants it to be. I can see. I mean, I think he's definitely a top-notch. Whatever he's ranked, it's well deserved. He runs the ball better this year. Last year he would get out of bounds, or if you got pressure on him, it bothered him, and this year it's not doing that. You can tell he has really taken his weaknesses from last year and flipped them around into a positive. The kid's worked hard. You can just see it. He's a better quarterback this year than he was last year, and he was a great quarterback last year. So he's going to be a formidable opponent. They got good receivers. They run really good routes. They protect him. It's going to be a big challenge, and we're going to have to get pressure, and we're going to have to play better in the secondary. We have to contest more balls and just tackle better. That was our biggest issue in the first half of the Pebble Hills, was we just didn't tackle. We were in position, we didn't tackle, or we were in position and we didn't get the ball slapped down. And we've got to start making those kinds of plays.
I know you mentioned that you've got a young football team, but what would you say that these non-district games have done for you guys the most? Well, you get 2 of the best teams to start out district.
Well, I mean, I think it's told us as a coaching staff what we're good at and what we need to get better at. Like I mentioned a while ago, we were doing some things in the secondary, and really we're just not we're not at that point yet. So we need to get a little more simple and let them play. Let them be in the right spot and see if we can make a play. And we're going to do that. We're going to simplify some things and let the kids not have as much to think about on the fly, and hopefully that'll be a difference.
Sounds like the offense is going to have to score points with Ken Seals, and everybody's kind of focused on Weatherford's offense and Seals because he's such a great quarterback. But defensively, what do you have to work on against them?
Well, I mean, it's kind of they run a 4-3 defense, a lot like Pebble Hills. So we're excited about that because we just got through playing it, and not that they're not good. I mean, they're good. Their defense is solid, but it's a 4-3, and we see that quite a bit. We kind of work against a 4-man front a lot in the off season and spring. Not a 4-3, but a 4-man front. And so, we feel good about that. We're going to have to score points in all of our games. Our goal is to score over 30, and we've been doing a pretty good job of that. And we've got to hold them under 30. That sounds crazy. 30 years ago, if I'd have said our goal is to keep someone under 30, that everyone would have laughed. But that's the way football is. I mean, they're going to score some points, and we're going to score some points, and we just got to get consistent. And I thought our quarterback played exceptional on Friday. He ran our offense exactly like we wanted him to, especially in the second half. Ran the ball well, threw the ball well. Our offensive line played really good. The last 2 games, Cedar Park and Pebble Hills and Del Rio, but you could really see against quality opponents the last 2 weeks. Offensive line's playing really well, and that's going to help us. And when we have the ball in our possession, we've got to get points. And, we all know that, and there is pressure on us to do that, but that's football nowadays.
From a personality standpoint, do you think it changes Malachi's mindset going into a game, knowing that his counterpart, Weatherford's quarterback, is as good as he is? Does it kind of elevate his mindset a little bit to prepare more, or is he just week by week the same every time?
No, I mean I don't think he can prepare more, because he prepares as much as he can every week. But sure, I mean I'm sure it motivates him to go play a guy like that and see what you can do, for your team. You're not on the field at the same time, so it's not like you're really playing against each other. But sure, he wants to go out and play well. He wants to play well every week, and when the other guy on the other side's getting a lot of hype, then I'm sure that motivates him to show what he can do. He's a competitor. He's not a vocal kid. He's not real vocal. I mean, he's vocal enough. He's a leader of our football team, but he's a big-time competitor. I mean, you see that. We see it every day, but I don't think anybody sitting in the stands can watch him play and not see how big of a competitor he really is. We should have won the Cedar Park game, and he was the reason. He willed us to that in the fourth quarter, and it didn't work out at the end. But I mean, the guy is he's got a competitive streak.
And it is homecoming, so how did that affect things? And I know it's going to be a big crowd. So
Yeah.
Do you expect that to give you a boost?
I hope so. I know we've had good crowds here already this year, and I think we'll have a bigger crowd for homecoming. It's always a really big crowd. The week doesn't really bother us because all those festivities and all that stuff that involve football players are done Thursday and Friday morning at the pep rally. So by the end of the pep rally on Friday morning, it won't affect us at all. The halftime and all that stuff doesn't have anything to do with us, and I like it that way. I like having it done before the game starts, and thank goodness this is how CHS does it. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Bet, man.